Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bullhucker podcast. I'm Moose Lundstrom.
Michelle Staley.
How are you, Michelle?
I am good.
Back again.
I'm surprised you keep having me.
You were here 2 weeks ago.
Since I don't know how to do rock, paper, scissors. Come up with my own.
It was like explaining physics to a monkey.
Well, you know.
You know what's? Here's a fun fact. We were here 2 weeks ago recording, right? The podcast came out, and since then I still have not been on your podcast. It's been two fucking
It's in the
weeks.
works. You know, I gotta get the thumbs up from the boss.
Let's see. I have to say my prayers before I go to bed. Gotta kiss my son goodnight. Gotta find a way to hurt Larry. That's how this shit goes, right?
We're gonna have you, buddy. Probably twice. I'll double book you. How about that?
Oh shit!
Double
Now
book
we're
you.
talking.
Yeah.
Well, hey, where are we? We're at the Brush Emporium again,
Brush
right?
Emporium. Yeah, that's a cool space and entrepreneurial. It'll be a good thing for Brush.
Yep, 210 Clayton Street. Come on down. It's already open at the right now because it's the future right now. It's the future. We're recording from the past.
You know who you're working with here, right?
If the world ends on like March 28th, we're going to be like real assholes because we're talking like it's still going. So
There we go.
we do have a guest today.
Yes.
We have the other Carrillo brother.
Carrillo brother, yeah.
Erick, Carrillo, how are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here, man. You lost the rock, paper, scissors to go first or second with your brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, you made
it sucks, but
big brother go first, right?
got to show me the ropes, see how he did, and then that's kind of where I come in.
Is that usually how it rolls? Did he show you a lot growing up? Did he get you in trouble?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Usually you just get me in trouble, blame it on me, like, oh shit, that's broken. Oh no, it was him.
Oh, you scapegoat, bro. Scapegoat.
There we go.
But hey, if you do the podcast, welcome to the Bullhucker podcast. What we do on the Bullhucker podcast, we bring a guest on. Today's Erick. Erick's going to tell us 3 stories about his life. And here's the kicker. Only 2 of these stories are true. One's actually either borrowed, halfway made up, or all the way made up. Now, Erick, without going into great detail, which one is it? Did you borrow the story from somebody? Did you all the way make it up, or is it part true, part made up?
It's part true, part made up.
Okay, so that's the most popular way, and it's tough because they are a truth base, right? So, okay, so at the end of the podcast, what we do is Michelle and I will then try and guess which one it was. We were 1-1 with Monaco.
Yeah,
By the hair of chin chin chin.
I think I've only won once.
Yeah,
In
you
the few
did better than
times
that.
I've done. Really?
I don't know. At the end of the year, I usually do the stats on who did what. And Dencia actually is the only one that ever comes out with a positive record.
Really?
Yeah, the rest was just poor Adam last year just was fucking awful.
He had a rough year.
Oh my God. Easy to lie to Mr. Vokey. So also, Erick is part of the Inception, not media, but film. That's you.
Inception's media.
Did I fuck it up again?
Well, we have Inception's
It's
media.
right there on the shirt.
Well, I know, but then Monaco corrected me, I thought.
No, so it's Inception's media. It's our marketing company.
Right.
Excuse me. And that's kind of where we just go and help out like small business market themselves and all that. And we have films by Inceptions.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
There you go.
And that's like more like the weddings quinceañeras, photo, videos type of stuff.
Right.
We both work both companies. It's just we all had it under Inception's media, and then I think people got too confused with what we offered and all that stuff. So we decided to just split it up, make it easier for people. I guess it's not that easy.
It's just Larry.
Still confused as ape, you know.
No, we did like that. Just keep it just straight, like strictly one thing on one page, another thing on the other.
Right. That's cool though. But you do a lot more of the photography and all that.
Yeah, I do like all the shooting and mostly all the editing and stuff. Monaco does more of like the business like deals, and then runs the numbers, more like the finance guy, the contracts guy, and I'm more like the kind of, I guess, like the creative vision. I go in there, I shoot it, do the video, do the pictures, and edit it all, get it all ready.
How did you get into photography?
That's a long story.
We got an hour, bro.
No, that's good. It kind of just started when I went off to college. I really didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, so I was like, I know I want to have a business, my own business in the future. So let me just go to college and get
Something
my
you were
business
kind of
degree.
passionate about and had a passion for, right? Like you thought it would be a good thing for you to do.
Yeah, like I always knew I wanted to have my own business because we grew up with like my dad had his own business and all that. So I was like, what's the next best step? Oh, I guess I'll just go get a business degree. And after like my freshman year, just taking a whole bunch of classes, I was like, you know what? I don't think this is for me. I don't know if it's the classes. I don't know if it's the degree path. I don't know if it's just college in general.
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't really like it. And then what really tipped it over for me was I took a business statistics class. and I don't know if you guys know statistics, but it's a shit show.
Oh, bet.
It's not real exciting.
Sounds like a nap.
Yes, it's not real.
Halfway through, I was failing, and I made up my mind. I was like, okay, I'm gonna just switch my major, no matter what. But I'm gonna still finish out the class, and then ended up somehow fucking acing the final, and then so I ended up passing with like a C in the class.
Yeah.
Nice.
But you're creative.
Yeah.
You're not a statistic type person.
Well,
right?
I like math and stuff. Like I've always been good at math,
Oh, yeah.
which is kind of like what threw me off. 'Cause
Right.
I like doing math, but not that kind of math.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the next year, I just took a couple of just random classes. It was like an intro to film class. And then from like the first day, I kind of just like fell in love with it. Fucking just kind of just snowballed from there. And then took a couple other classes. I took a photography class and all that stuff.
Right.
And then kind of just grew from there.
Right. When you do their podcast, the Totem Podcast, which you're one of the hosts on, their cameras are super fancy. Like I looked at them, I was like, I didn't even know how that fucking thing would work. They would kick my ass, man. It would be awful. That's why we have the camcorder from 1989. What's up, camcorder? You know? Technology that your grandparents use, but I guess it's not dumb if it works, right?
Yeah.
As long as it works, that's what I always say.
Right.
If it's dumb but it works, is it really dumb?
Is it tough to do that kind of stuff, being a photography guy, and not want to buy the new toys all the time? It's tough, right?
100%. Yeah.
It's tough to have anything like this and not like want to buy the toys,
Mm-hmm. When we first started, I wanted to go out and get the latest, greatest camera and stuff, and then
right.
Monica was like, actually,
yeah,
we don't got any money
Budget
yet.
says.
We got to hold off on that.
Hey, Rockefeller, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I have to sell a kidney to get what we got right now. So yeah, that kind of shit happens, dude. It's when I DJ'd, they have all the new stuff always, and you go down the YouTube rabbit hole of all the new stuff, watching the next video, and you're like, man, this is some cool shit, and then you look it up how much it is, and you're like, oof.
Well, that's like even with
it's cool, but it's not that cool.
with what Lori and I do with Facebook Lives. It's like we're like someday we'll have a crew. We're still doing the same thing with at least our mics are at least wireless now, but it's it's like we would like to have a bigger get-up, a bigger setup.
I used to work for like the school too, and when we would like live stream the sports and all that stuff too, and that's why I said when you guys do live, like that's a whole different like ball game. You actually want to get like technical behind it. It's a lot. There's a lot of people behind.
We
the
like
scene.
to say it's the charm behind it that we do it still kind of ghetto wise.
I don't know. I've never been on the show.
It's been 2 weeks and
Twice. We'll have him on there twice. That's it.
How many times have you guys been on here?
Well, he's never had us on here together as whiskey, wine, whatever. It's been individually.
Mm-hmm.
So he's really thrown me under the bus, but technically.
It's out of love. It's out of love, Michelle. Yes. She's one of my favorite people in the world. So I used to go to the gym a lot, but I had to quit going because Michelle was there, and we'd just start bullshitting for 3 hours. And I'd be like, well, that's enough of my gym time.
You're all shit. I didn't even work out.
Yeah, I worked my mouth. That's it. My jaw got to work out.
That doesn't work. That's not.
And we bitch about stuff like this quite a bit, right? Like the all the trials and all the problems with podcasting you run into. You know what I mean? Because you guys have been doing it for a long time too. You're over 100 episodes, yes?
Like full length episodes. I think we're around like 40 some.
Oh, okay.
But we do like a lot of shorts.
You do a ton of shorts.
Yeah, he does some really cool. I like that.
And the shorts is what gets a lot more traction,
right?
Because a lot of people won't. If we're being honest, like they won't sit down and actually like invest an hour of their life into watching the whole episode, but they will watch the 30-second shorts.
Right, that's the attention span.
Yeah.
Of the world. It's gotten kind of scary. Actually, But I mean, I love podcasts. We talked about it last night. I was on your episode, your podcast, about how I got into them, and then once you like podcasts, you will listen to a whole hour. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Before I would jump and choose like if I knew the guest or not, but now with certain podcasts like the Honeydew with Ryan Sickler, it doesn't matter who's on. I'll just watch it. I'll listen to it. So there's a medium there. But you're right. The reels are what go with it. It's what gets all the views now. Yeah. So
you mean a few weeks ago when you were on our podcast.
A few weeks ago, that's right. That's right. Back in the day.
Back in the day, way back when. The way back. Yep.
So, Eric, you ready to tell some stories, brother?
Yeah.
All right. Michelle, you want to name them off?
I need Kurt's readers
Do you
again.
want me to read them?
Go ahead and read them.
That's right. I keep forgetting your
I've got my
Bible.
contacts in, and it's like I need readers.
You know what's hilarious is I got contacts, the same problem. On my glasses, I'm getting to be an old man, right? I'm 47 years old. The eye doctor's like, you need bifocals. And I'm like, fuck
no.
you, I don't need bifocals. What's that shit? And then like at work, I'm like, man, I wish I had bifocals. But I'm not going to go tell him he's right.
I've heard people they say they suck though because you miss curbs. Like I'm a klutz as it is. Like I don't think that's a good idea for us, Larry.
Really?
I think so because I have contacts too.
Yeah.
But I used to have like bifocals when I was like younger, and that line just gets in your way.
It'll mess you up.
Yeah. You know what? You've convinced me I'm not getting them.
Me neither.
Take that, doctor. So it's easy. Like, that bastard dies. It's on you, Carrillo. And it's true. Like, my cell phone, I catch myself taking a picture, then enlarging it to read. It's bad, dude.
I have to take my glasses off to read my phone.
Or you do like this.
And then I'm like, where's my glasses? I lost my glasses. I can't see to get up.
It's almost what my mom does. She'll get her phone, and instead of like getting it closer, she's like over here. Okay.
And you laugh at them when they do that.
Yeah.
And so you realize you've become that fucking age. Like I told him, my dad does this. He puts his glasses down and reads like this. I caught myself doing it at a city council meeting. I had to read something. I go, it's, and then Scotty Klinkhammer sitting next to me thinks that's hilarious. Councilor Klinkhammer, started laughing at me, and I felt like such an old man. So
It happens.
yeah. Getting old beats the alternative, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, some days I feel that way.
Some days.
Some days.
All right. So the stories we have is I'm working for the feds, I'm a big teddy bear, and breaking noses and taking names. I love it.
Yep.
Are you the same age as Brady?
Yeah, we graduated the same year.
Okay. All right, Brady. Yeah. It was you did a good
I watched his. I mean, shout out Brady. It was a pretty good episode. Pretty funny stories.
What's up, Brady? He did well. He was entertaining, and we laughed because I told you earlier the first recording of the day is usually the shit show. That's where we're trying to, we're not quite in the groove yet. And for Brady, that was it. We recorded for like 5 minutes until I realized one of the cameras wasn't on. I'm like, son of a bitch.
It's we run into that too, like where it's like the mic's not, like you have to go through all these extra steps to do Facebook Lives. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like unplug it and then plug it in and then make sure you turn the mic off. Like it's all these steps.
Really?
And when you're 50 something, you forget those steps and then you're like, oh, nobody's hearing us. Well, let's take two.
Dude, I'm telling you, I watched one of your live feeds from the Queen's Lounge when they did all the remodel.
Yeah, and there was there was
There was a blur there, and I kept texting you like, Michelle,
right.
there is a blur. Michelle, go do
I
something with
wasn't
your
paying
camera.
attention. I was drinking whiskey.
But then you I don't know, you saw, it was a ghost. I think that place is haunted, man.
Well, it is.
Oh, yeah.
It is. I've done some Facebook Lives there, and
But there was a blur that kept moving, and I'm like, what the fuck is that blur?
You guys gotta
I
do
think
it.
it's the way the camera was flipped. I think it was the thing that held it.
You gotta do an after hours live from there, like at midnight, just where the ghosts at. Just look for them.
Eric, I love supernatural stuff, man. If I had time, I would do a supernatural podcast. But you're a skeptic, you kind of told me, right?
A little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, my fiance, she's like, she full on believes it, and I'm like, just a little skeptical.
What's her name?
Edith.
What's up, Edith?
Yeah.
All right.
Hopefully she's watching. If not, I'm gonna go share this with you so you can make sure to watch
Torture
it.
man, Edith. We're gonna have him back on. He's gonna tell Edith's story. So I don't want to see that happen, Edith. I don't want no domestic shit. But
Staley never watches anything I do.
that's probably good. I've heard the shit you talk about, Staley.
I did throw him under the bus last night. I didn't the 2 weeks ago that we shot.
Yeah.
But I usually throw him under the bus.
Last time you and I filmed with Eric or Kurt Worth, you started talking about how you waxed his butthole and everything else. I'm like, I just shake my head. Like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Staley. I don't know. I don't know why I bring her on.
Manscapes.
Dude.
No filter.
We had to start going to counseling after your podcast.
I bet that's
He's like, she's not nice. She throws.
And the therapist is like, what happened? And then she goes on the Bullhucker podcast. And she never has him on hers, though, by the way. But she goes on his podcast all the time and talks shit.
Yeah. Love you, Staley.
He's a good dude. He really is. All right. 3 stories. Do you want to pick first or do you want me to pick first?
You pick first this time.
All right. There's always one I want to hear the most. So I try and say that one for last. So instead, let's go with I'm a big teddy bear.
I'm a big teddy bear.
He looks like a big teddy bear. Yeah. Huh?
Well, I mean, some people just look at me and they're like, "Oh no, he's a big guy. He's got to be mean."
Yeah.
And that's kind of goes with the story. This was long ago, many years ago. I think I was probably a junior in high school, and me and my fiance, like, recently started dating because we got together. It was like early October, and then during Halloween, like around here, they had I think it's First Star Farms in Wiggins.
Yeah,
like the haunted corn maze and all that stuff.
Yep.
I hate getting scared. Like I'm the biggest baby just because I hate it. If I know I'm gonna get scared, it's like why even go?
Yeah,
I know I'm gonna get scared. I don't like it.
that, okay.
I don't like the anticipation. Like what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah.
But she loves it for some reason. It's true. They say opposites attract.
Yeah.
Right,
You know?
right.
So it wasn't like Halloween. Halloween was like a couple days before. And she's like, oh, I want to go to the corn maze. And I was like, cool, let's go to the corn maze. No, but at night. And I was like, oh, shit.
It's like, I want to go to the bouncy house during the day with the kids.
That's right.
Yeah, and it was a new relationship. So I'm trying to be tough. I'm like,
Yeah.
you got to try and show out, trying to win her over.
Yeah.
And
He's
I'm like,
oh,
you know
I'm
what?
going to be crying in the corn maze.
That's what I was thinking in the back of my head the whole time, right? Well, it was like a newer relationship, so she took her friend too, and we just started going to in the cornfield, and I'm just like, oh shit, like, and then
he jumps into her arms.
She brought a new friend because she just met Eric, and to make sure he wouldn't murder her in said cornfield.
Yeah, right.
I got you.
He's a big guy.
She also is 5 feet tall.
Oh,
so
really?
there's a big difference, big height difference. So I'm like this big guy, and she's like this little.
Oh, she's 5 feet tall.
Yeah. So we just started going through this maze. I'm sweating so bad this whole time, just waiting for the pop out scares.
Yeah.
And then we have a few here and there, and I'm like, okay, it's not too bad,
Yeah.
Right.
I'm handling it. And then I guess at some point in the corn maze, like halfway through, there's this trailer, and you have to like go inside of the trailer because it's like a mini like haunted house.
Oh.
And
Yeah,
I was just like,
things
I
that
saw
pop
it, and I
out
was
either.
like, I think we can just go around this. I don't think we need to go in. No, but she's like, no, let's go in. And I was like, all right, fine, like let's go in. As soon as we opened the door,
His palms are all sweating.
yeah, it's bad. It's bad. We go in, and just automatically, instinctively, I put her in front of me, and I kind of like grab her waist, and I'm just like, you go first. And then I was like, I told her friend, you go behind me, because I don't want people sneaking up behind me.
That's right.
So then we go into this whole thing, and then there at some point,
A guy with a chainsaw jumps
what was
out.
it? No, I mean, because we went through the whole thing, and then I think the people noticed that there was this big, huge dude in between two girls, and he started like scaring me from like the sides and like aiming at the middle guy.
Yeah.
And then we finally get to the other side. I'm like shitting bricks, and I'm like, I get out. I'm like, it wasn't too bad,
Yeah.
He's all white.
And then she
out.
turns around. She's like, "Are you serious? Like, you're being a little girl." And then, I mean, just long story short, we just finally make it out of the cornfield like 2 hours later.
Yeah.
Because we're bad with directions. She's horrible with directions, and I'm shitting
You're
bricks
like,
the whole
oh my
time.
God,
So
we're
I'm-
lost in this thing.
Right.
Yeah, that was my
Yeah.
biggest fear. Getting lost in a haunted corn maze at night.
Right.
This can't be true.
Yeah.
Well, we finally make it out, and then she kind of just like side eyes me like, you really are just like a big teddy bear. Yeah.
Yeah.
Her friend's like, you might as well be lesbian because this guy's like a chick anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'm just
exactly.
saying. I'm just saying. I'm with you, bro. Although I don't, being old, fat, and probably a bad heart, I don't like being scared now, just out of fear that I'll die. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I like that horror shit. When I was dating Patty, we went and saw the 13th floor in Denver.
Oh, man. No way. Mm-mm. No
But it was during
thanks.
COVID, man. So all these stupid ass restrictions. Then you had the people hopping out at you, you know, because they might hop out and give you the vid. But
All the nurses are wearing the mask.
Yeah.
but she doesn't like that shit at all. You know, we were pretty new in our relationship, so it's that, like you said, it's that point when you're just starting off where you're just gonna do the shit you don't want to do ever again. But I'm gonna do it this one time just to get over that hill. So I have her hand, and and I'm talking shit to her about being scared the whole time. Well, there's this part where it's all mirrors and shit, right? I go face first in this thing so fucking hard, man. It almost knocks me out, dude. And I can look up and she's laughing so fucking hysterically. Like, that's what you
We
get.
talked
That's
about
what
the
you
vid.
get.
Sorry.
Uh-oh.
All right, just a moment.
You
I'm
gonna die?
a shot of this vodka.
You gonna die? Is that vodka? That'll girl.
We had a couple shots before we got started.
All right, here we go.
Attaboy.
There we
So
go.
if it goes haywire, just know that's why.
There we go.
It goes south. Yeah, no, you should have to, or act special. Eric, next time that happens, be like, I like that, Mama.
Man,
I like, you know.
I do not like Jack in the Box. I do not like opening Pillsbury cans. Like, I don't anything that's like those sons of bitches.
They sneak up on you.
I'm telling you. I'm surprised Staley still married me because I was like, I would be like, I have to work myself up to open those.
You talking about the rolls?
I don't like those because they pop.
Like a grenade?
Yeah. I used to have Staley open them. Yeah. He'd be like, seriously?
You know,
like,
if you don't mend your ways, Michelle, and you end up going to hell,
this
you're
kid's-
going to have the lamest torture of all time.
I'm telling you, check out some of those memes about those damn things.
Like people that are like walking to their room in hell and go by your room, like, why can't I be in the room with the chick just opening the fucking biscuits? The one screaming and crying.
They pop. Oh my
Oh my God, the biscuit.
God. Oh, I'm getting a little.
Yeah, Satan's
or
Satan's like 40 more today.
Yeah,
dude.
or the Jack in the Box, those things. You know that part in the movie Elf when he's opening them.
No. You don't like any of that stuff.
No, I don't.
It's weird though, because like I used to hate being scared,
Right.
and she used to like love scary movies, and I used to hate them. But now I'm like with her, like, okay, let's watch the next scary movie.
Yeah.
She got you over that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to some extent.
Yeah.
There's still I'm still not a haunted house type of guy.
And you
Really?
need to go
Yeah.
to if they do the Queens again, where they have the haunted.
That was a little weird, man. Did you do that? Are you familiar?
No,
So
Well, he doesn't believe in that stuff, though.
Oh.
It's haunted.
maybe.
It's haunted.
I don't know.
the upstairs of the Queens is completely empty, but it's supposed to be like weird shit happens up there. So Nick actually opened it up to the public one Halloween and took tours up. Yeah, it was.
Oh,
it's
shit.
creepy.
You want to know what they did to me? It was during B106. We did a Facebook Live up there. And I don't like things that jump like you. He had one of his patrons put a damn wolf mask on and jump out at me.
Nice.
A few cuss words came out. I'm like, oh, that was on B106.
By cuss words, you mean pee, right?
Yeah, that too. That too.
Hopefully it was just pee.
Might have sharted. I don't know.
Oh no, everybody! The ghost shit my pants. Oh my!
Oopsie.
You silly ghost!
And it's live. It's not like you can just edit
No,
it
that's
out.
why. It's why. Yeah.
And someone's like, "What's that smell?" And you're like, "There's no smell. Something must have died up here. Just keep going."
It's old.
The
Subtle.
smell is following
And,
us
they
down
have,
the stairs.
and there's bats.
There's bat. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Bats.
Yeah. Crazy. Well, that's a. Like I said, I like the scary stuff. I have a sister who's 14 years younger than I am. And that's how that's how her and I bonded.
Bonded?
Is she loves scary movies. Tiffany loves scary shit. So when she was younger, I'd watch them with her, you know. And sure, I'd get a little weird sometimes, you know. Like, hey, you need to cuddle up to Big Brother because
You look a little scared there.
yeah, you get that knife. Make sure it's when you can grab that thing, you know. So yeah, she had a bunch of friends over one time at Dad's house, and I thought it'd be funny to scare them in the window, but scaring a bunch of 12-year-old girls at a summer party, not a great idea. Just so you know.
Well, it's funny that you're saying this because I don't like to be scared like that. I scare the shit out of Ty all the time.
Really?
I cannot. It makes my whole day. He screams like a little
You
girl.
like giving it, just not
Yeah,
getting
no,
it.
no, yeah.
He's got to be your designated driver. You're always fucking with him. It's like prison rules over there at the Staley house.
He's
That
like he
poor
cannot,
guy.
he
Poor
cannot
guy.
wait to graduate.
Enjoy the therapy, Ty. All right. What'd you think about that story?
It seems pretty innocent.
I'm an innocent guy.
Yeah.
He's just a big innocent teddy bear.
Big teddy bear.
We'll see. I don't know.
I'm a big teddy bear too. I mean, I like being scared, but I'm pretty mellow guy. I'm pretty non violent. So I got you. I usually got here too, so to kind of judge them on each other. So
And that was like one of our like kind of first couple of dates that we've been on. So it was
Really?
so it's like I was really trying to push through, and I was
right.
couldn't.
my fool.
It couldn't. I fell apart at the end.
Did you know she liked that stuff when you started dating her?
No. No.
When she said it, you're like, fuck.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, this is just a one-time thing.
Yeah.
He's like,
No.
she's so cute
Year-
though.
It's like
We're
year
gonna
after
power
year,
through.
she's like
We're gonna
back
power
at it.
through.
Can't she be in like some dominatrix shit? Just like shove something inside of me. Can we just do that instead? I mean, I don't want that either, but it's better to be scared. You know?
It's a different level of scary.
That's what it is. That's what it is. But you're not doing it in public, Eric.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No one sees
True.
you being the big teddy bear. You know what I mean? When she plays peekaboo with the lampshade.
Speaking of
that's-
crazy like reality stuff, did you know there's a decorating show or like I only saw like half an episode, but it's how to build a sex room. What? I'm dead serious.
I don't think I get that channel, Michelle.
And there's a comedian you might even know
I think
her.
you have to pay for that.
Pay-per-view. That's what PPV
Yes.
means.
I saw a comedian up at the Ironton Distillery, and I hadn't seen this episode, but apparently she's on it.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Do you know her name?
Lisa something. Short, blonde, busty. Lisa.
That doesn't matter.
Anyhow, well, I'll send you the link.
Okay. Yeah, we'll check it out. How to build a sex room.
Yeah.
How
Sorry,
hard,
just-
how hard could it be? Just put a big lock on it. That's what it is, right? That's the sex room. You know?
It's like,
Maybe a mattress.
yeah, maybe.
Mattress, something to whip the shit out of somebody with.
Maybe,
You
yes.
know?
Yes.
All right.
Dungeon, whatever, you know.
A sex room.
I'm telling you, there's a legit show.
Do you guys have a sex room, Michelle?
No.
You were seeing that out.
Not into that.
No.
No.
Staley, when you come home, bring some 2x4s. Just bring them. I'll show you what we're doing when we get home.
I have him stay in his plumbing clothes sometimes, but
What it is. The plumber. I don't know what's leaking, Mr. Plumber Man. Poor Staley. Poor bastard. All right.
Poor Ty.
That's right. His wife was like,
has
"Why
to get
would-"
some headphones and just.
Yeah. It's worse when they're, let me tell you, with kids, when they're little.
His wife's going to be like, I don't know why he's scared of the plunger, but he won't touch the goddamn thing. He's got some kind of plunger, like, phobia. I don't know what it is.
Just-
If you saw what I saw when I was young, you wouldn't touch that son of a
But
bitch
the
either.
funniest story. So Ty just celebrated his 18th birthday. We had it at the Hatchet House, and then we all went to after hours. Some of the family, and I'm all, share some good stories about Ty, and this is the one that Scott tells. So Ty was only like 3, and Scott and I were hanging out in the living room, cuddling. And Ty came out of his bedroom and thought we were wrestling and jumped on Staley's back. And Staley chucked him across, because that's your initial reaction. You're like, oh shit, chucked him across the room. He goes crying back to his bedroom. Poor kid.
Poor kid. You scarred him for life.
Because you're getting laid, the last thing you want me to do is be touched by a child. Is it, my God.
He jumped right on Scott's back.
Does he remember this story?
Ty?
Yeah.
No.
God.
But that is a story that Staley told Jews to tell with the family at after hours.
That's awesome.
Anywho.
That's awesome.
If Ty becomes a serial killer, I'll be like, you know what? I
think I know why.
yeah, dude. I mean, I don't justify killing 40 people, but I mean,
He was the cutest little redhead, curly haired, and just got chucked across the room.
God damn.
Redhead and curly hair is like Chucky flying across the room.
It's like Puss in Boots, where he's just flying like this, all spread eagle. Like he's supposed to ninja move shit. Okay. All right.
So to this day, we wrestle.
Stop wrestling, Michelle. Okay.
Anywho.
We got 2 left. I'm working for the feds and breaking noses and taking names. What do you want here?
Let's do I'm working for the feds.
Okay.
Okay. So, just like my brother Monaco, it's this involves Joe and the
Joe.
husband group. So if that gives you any hint on like who Joe is and how crazy he is, and
Joe Crisp?
Joe Crisp, yeah.
Okay.
So last January, it was like middle of January, because we've been working with him at this point for like a few months and stuff. We just like making commercials and shit and stuff for him. And then he just hits us up out of the blue one time. He's like, "Hey, we're gonna do this kind of sketchy kind of trip that we would like to
And
to
we
get
want
filmed."
footage of it, so we have record of it.
Well, it's like he was trying to get like a show picked up on A&E, and he's like,
gotcha.
"Oh, this might be good." I was like, you guys shoot it, and then we work out a deal, make some money off of it, get on A&E, get on TV. Like this was gonna be like a kind of like a breakthrough kind of moment for him. And so we're like, oh, well, like let's hear him out a little bit. Because he called us one day, and I think like the next day, we showed up to his house, and he had it was like him and 3 other guys, just there like sitting at a table, kind of going over like all the intel they had on, and me and my brother Monica were just kind of sitting here, just like taking it all in. Because at this point, we're like, we don't know if we're gonna go or not. We're just gonna like hear him out, see what the situation is, and then and then we'll make a decision because we're not gonna jump into any like sketchy shit or whatever.
Right.
But he's like going over and he's like, oh yeah, like we've gone. First of all, we're gonna be we're gonna be like hopping over the border real quick and coming back. No, it's gonna be like 18 hours deep into Mexico. Supposedly, this is like narco territory, but we've done our intel. Like, there's no like that city has nothing to do with any like narco stuff or anything. So like it checked out, or so we thought it checked out. And we're like, you know what? I mean, this might be a good opportunity. It's gonna be like a week-long trip too. So it's like, and we're not getting paid for this. So it's kind of like we're gonna go on a limb. Hopefully, we do good work. Hopefully, it all works out. We don't get killed or whatever, and we make it back and sell the footage or whatever.
And it drums up more business later, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that's like sometimes in business you gotta take a risk.
That's a big risk, though.
Yeah. And
How would the fiance and the wife, are they like, not that you have a fiance and a wife, but, you know, your brother. Were they like, or did you even tell them what you were doing exactly?
No. We told them. We also like told my parents like we're gonna do
we
this.
Don't come back.
Yeah, like honestly, like it was kind of like playing around, like, oh, in case you don't come back. But then it's like, what if you don't come back? Like it's so there's like this little like serious kind of touch into it. So we had that meeting that night, and then we finally decided like, you know what, fuck it, let's go.
Right.
And that was and that meeting was like the night before we're supposed to take off. So that was down in Colorado Springs. So Monaco had to drive all the way back up here to Wiggins, pack his bags, and then go all the way back down to the Springs. I live in Colorado Springs right now, so I was like, oh, it's like a 30-minute drive to his house or whatever. So then we leave the next day. It took us pretty much all that day, that first day, to get to El Paso. We kind of like spent the night there. Tradition he has is you eat a big steak before you go out and do like a mission like this. So we went to Texas Roadhouse, got a steak.
Nice. That sounds really good right now.
Yeah, and then the next day we like start driving into Mexico and starting the mission. I mean, we had a few hiccups here and there because down in Mexico they have like checkpoints to make sure you got like all your paperwork in order and stuff. Right. And you know, we kind of had to bullshit our way through those a few times because not everything, I guess, was up to par. Was on the
up and up.
Yeah. So I mean, it took us a few days. It took us like 2 days to get down there. And they already had like Airbnb like rented out and stuff. And then when we got there, we like before we get to like the hotel, you gotta like just drive around town. Like, oh, this is where they said they found him or whatever. Because this was a guy who did some stuff over here in Springs, fled to Mexico, and then was just hiding out. So like his job was just go find him, bring him back. But with like bounty hunters, you're not law enforcement really. Right. So it's like you can't say you're law enforcement and you can't do all this stuff. It has to be like convincing him to come back, pretty much.
Right.
So then we go, and then we just do like scope out a little bit, and then one of the guys starts getting a little nervous, like starts shaking and stuff. But then we get back to like the Airbnb, and we start like talking over stuff, and he's like, Joe's just like, so we are in narco territory, just so you guys know. And then we're just sitting there like shit and bricks, like what the fuck.
Yeah.
And like the other guys didn't really know either, I guess. Because one of the guys, he was just like shitted like too. He was like, oh no, like what the fuck are we gonna do?
So did Joe know that?
Joe knew.
He knew, but he didn't want to tell everybody else.
Yeah.
Until he really had to.
Yeah, he didn't want to tell anybody else because he wanted to. Because if you would have told them, there's like probably no one's gonna end up going.
That's a dick move, Joe.
Yeah,
It's a dick move.
But they're all like ex-military, so like they know how to handle their shit.
Okay.
Right.
Mostly. They're mostly all military. But then that first day was kind of just like sitting there like, are we actually gonna go through with this? Like, we know we're in fucking narco territory. We're gonna do some fucking fucked up shit. Like,
right.
So like the first day was just kind of like talking like if we're actually gonna go through with it or not. And like the main reason was like, it's like we're already fucking here.
Yeah.
Why are we gonna go back just without even trying?
And Eric's
like,
I've shot some crazy brides.
Yeah.
I've had my share.
Yeah. So we just decided, you know what? Let's just stick with it. And I mean, it was pretty sketchy. I didn't tell. I don't think I told my fiance that we're actually in narco territory until we got back, just so she wouldn't like worry even more.
She's like, that's the last trip.
Right,
There'll be no more hanging out with Joe.
Yeah. So I mean, there's so much like in detail with this. I'll just kind of like skim over. But like at some points we were just driving around at night, like going through cornfields, trying to like look into people's windows and stuff. And at some point, like there's people with like guns walking around, and it was pretty sketchy.
Intense.
It was intense.
So how about for you guys filming and like, you know,
Scary
sometimes,
shit.
I mean, even though that's what you do, like there's nerve-wracking things just with that in itself, you know, but like how are you able to just keep focus on, all right, this is the job we're here to do, and wait a minute, we're not even getting paid for this shit.
Right.
Like, I'd be
Yeah.
like,
Well, like as like filmmakers, we have a saying is that you'll do anything for the shot. So like a lot of times you'll see like crazy behind the scenes pictures because we want to get the shot pretty much no matter what it costs.
Right.
And then at that point, in a situation like that, it's like the camera is my eyes. So wherever it's pointing is where I'm looking.
That's
so
weird,
if I'm not like pointing somewhere, then I don't know what's going on.
Right. You're oblivious to what's going on. And you're perfectly. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, which is kind of sketchy because you have to also be aware of your surroundings when you're in that situation. Yeah, we were in like cornfields, like going through some shit. It was not the safest thing to do.
yeah.
What was the guy wanted for? Do you know? Did they tell you?
It was like some drug possession that he was like over here selling drugs and all that stuff.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he like fled, and so then it's like days and days of like doing intel, like scoping out his house, like is he here, is he not here. They're like texting back to home base over here, like, hey, it turns out he's not here. And then they're just like constant communication all the time. It's like constantly like you're go. And
Wow.
so it was like a few days of this, and then I think it was like after the second or third day we're there, people kind of start looking at us weird.
Right.
Like everywhere we go, people are just like looking at us. Because first of all, I mean,
Well, and how do you know who to trust?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like
Oh.
me and my brother we're Mexican, so we like kind of fit in. But the other dudes were white, and they just stuck out like a sore thumb.
But you're both also very fluent in Spanish,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah. So I mean, that kind of helped out
Yeah.
a little bit. But yeah, it's just like at some point, people just like start looking at us, and we're like, I think
Time to boogie.
it's time to head out.
Yeah.
And then I think it was like the final day, we're just like, hey, let's just go give it a shot. And then Joe and my brother actually like got a chance to like sit down with the dude's dad, and they were there pretty much all day. They were there for a few hours just talking to him and convincing the dad to convince the son to come over and to pack his bags and to like just turn himself in.
That it's better.
Man, that's tough
Yeah.
though, because I mean, literally, dude, go fuck off.
Mm-hmm.
He's in a different country.
Yeah, like
You
they
know?
don't have to.
Right.
But and that's the thing. It's like they were there for hours, just talking and convincing to like
Right.
it's gonna be good. It's like you don't have to worry about anything. We're gonna go get this taken care of. You'll sign some papers and they'll let you come back. Total bullshit.
Bullshit. Yeah.
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 So I don't know how the fuck they did it. Because I was out here with one of the other guys, and we're just kind of like scoping out, making sure everything's good. And they convinced him to come.
He came back.
Yeah.
Damn.
It
dude.
took a lot of convincing, but he came back. He packed his bag, and he got in the van with us, and just to like ensure everything would be okay, would be safe, we drove straight back to the border.
Sure.
It was like 18 hours straight just
No,
drive.
no
It
way.
was brutal. We got I don't even know what time we left, but we got at the border like 6 a.m. probably. We drove all through the night just because when it's in a situation like that, like you don't know if people are following you, or you don't know if they're like calling ahead to like the next city or whatever that shit can go down.
So did you ever like second guess? Were you like, you know, this could be good for our career, but
Right,
you
right.
know, I don't know if it's like worth it at this point.
I did at the beginning, but then at some point it's like I'm already here, I'm doing it. If I'm gonna keep second guessing myself,
Right.
it's gonna potentially put us
Yeah,
in danger.
yeah.
So like I'm here 100% in, like let's just do it.
I talked about with your brother Monaco. that's not your dream, but to do this for a living, I mean, you got to go all in at one point in time, right? You got to take these kind of jobs. You got to do this kind of stuff, right? I mean, it's
especially when you're starting out, you were trying to get your name out there. And
right.
If we're the ones who do this, and then show gets picked up, it's on TV. It's like, damn, like these two guys from a small town like did that.
Yeah. And I mean, at that point, I don't know how this is going to sound, but since you're new to the game, you're also probably pretty affordable.
Yeah.
Right, for someone that's looking for something like that. You know, I would say affordable, like you'd probably be more apt to be negotiable on a price. You know what I mean? So that's, and you can also be talked into doing something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what the crazy part about this story is? He was afraid to go to a cornfield haunted house, but he went to drug dealer territory. You know? That's an intense story, man.
Well, and then it's not finished yet. Because even like like when we first like left that city, there was like a car that was just like going everywhere we went. So we thought we were being followed for a while, and then finally like we lose it. We get to the border, and then we run into Border Patrol. It's like, what's he doing here? I'm like, he's a fugitive. They're huntsmen. Or bounty huntsmen. You're gonna bring him back, and then there's this whole shit like that. I mean, long story short, we couldn't bring him across the border, even though there was like warrants out for his arrest.
Really?
Even though that we convinced him to come, they didn't let us bring him all the way across the border and actually into jail.
So you gotta take him, drop him off, or did you just say he's
kicked him out of the van at that point? How does that work?
Yeah.
Well, when we were there, they like made us park to the side. They like checked out the car. They like did a pretty deep search, making sure we didn't have any illegal stuff or whatever. Right. But they took him inside for questioning, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you can't take him." And then they just like let him go on that side of the border or whatever. And then they talked to us for a while, and then finally they let us go too.
Do you think it was one of those things where they wouldn't let him? They wouldn't give him up because he maybe is related to somebody they didn't want to piss off?
I don't think so. No? I think it's just a bunch of stupid bureaucratic stuff that's just like, you know. But yeah, a week's worth of work to go all the way in there and get nothing in return.
So how does that work for the huntsmen? I mean, shit. Like, that's their whole mission and their whole goal, and then I guess that's just a chance you take, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. I think they ended up they did end up getting paid because it was like for legal reasons, like the government wouldn't let them bring them in, but they accomplished their mission up to the point where the government didn't let them anymore.
Right. Huh. That's intense. I liked it. I liked it. That's quite a story, man. How old were you when this happens around?
This was last year.
Oh, it was last year?
Last January.
So 21, 22 years old?
22.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's ballsy, man.
Living la vida loca.
Right. Yeah. And to go into Mexico, that's just sketchy to begin with. And when the guy says, I have a sketchy job, you know, fuck you. I don't know what that means, you know. Mm-hmm. That's never been a good thing, you know. Like, oh, yeah. What do you think?
Just because, I don't know, part of it could be, I don't know, Larry. I can't make my decision quite yet.
That's tough.
That's tough. Mm-hmm.
A lot of detail, which I like. I'm a sucker for details. So
I'm a teddy bear, but I like to get shit done.
Yeah. You gotta pay me. Tell your fiance, like, I'll go to the haunted house for $50. That's what's happening, woman. Maybe some gigs down the road. Yeah. All right. I think that was a great story. I like that one a lot. So we got one left. We got breaking noses and taking names.
Yeah. So this was in college because, I mean, in college is when a lot of things transformed for me, just like mentally, just physically and all that stuff. But like when I was in high school, I played football and I was like really passionate about it. And then when you kind of graduate, you're kind of just like left without.
You're kind of lost a little bit.
Left without sports, so you're lost, you know?
Yeah.
And I was just trying to find something to do. Because like in college, like the first week they have like all these clubs and they're like, oh, like this is what we do. Like sign up. And we're just kind of walking around, me and my fiance.
So you both went to school. You both went to school down there together.
Yeah, I followed her.
He's still following her.
Still following her.
That's good. That's
good. But yeah, I mean, we just went out around these other tables. And then she got like she was like looking at the sororities or whatever, because that might be something she was interested in, just getting information. And I was just like walking around by myself, and then I see like this table with a bunch of big dudes behind it and a big ball like this big on the table. And I was like, what is that? And I just kind of walk over, and they're like, hey, you want to sign up for rugby? And I was like,
rugby.
I was like, oh shit, rugby. I've heard of it because my older brother, he went to mines and he played rugby for like a couple years or whatever.
Right.
And I was like, what is this? I was like, oh, it's rugby, and we do this.
It's a crazy sport.
It's like football and soccer put together. And I was like, interesting. Like, when's the first practice? And then I signed up to go to the first practice. And then I kept like walking around, and I get to like a lacrosse table too, and I was like, oh, lacrosse, sounds kind of cool.
But you still wanted to play sports.
Yeah, I wanted to try and find something to kind of help me transition, I guess, from doing sports like every single year for months at a time to nothing. And then I also signed up for like the lacrosse first day of practice.
Oh, you did? To see what you'd like.
Yeah, and it happened to be like the same day I did lacrosse, and I was like, oh, you know what? This is kind of cool. Like, I think I'll just do this and not even go to the rugby practice. But it was like right after each other, and it's like on the same field. So I was like, I'm already here. Might as well just stick it out. And then in order to practice for rugby, you had to have like your physical done, but I didn't have it yet. So I was just forced to like sit there and watch, which is why I didn't want to go. But I was just sitting there and watching, and then I'm just like watching the whole practice, and it's like run almost like a football practice too. Right. It's like pretty like identical to like the practices, and I'm like, oh, you know what? I kind of
it's like a rec league.
No, it's like a club league.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. But it's still kind of like a travel league, so you like play with the club, but then you also play with like other schools' clubs. Because they're UCCS, where I went to, is a Division II school. So it's not like a Division II like legit sport. I guess it's like a club sport first.
Nice.
So yeah, I did the practice, and I was like, you know what? I actually love this better than lacrosse.
Did you like it better than football?
It was pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except you don't have pads.
Except you don't have pads.
Do you have helmets? No, you don't have helmets.
You have your pair of cleats, and that's it.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but it's just a pair of cleats and a mouth guard, and you're set. Yeah. That's all you need.
Yeah.
And then I finally, that day, just by watching, I was like, that's the one I want to do. Even though I like got actually like.
Even though you're a big teddy bear, you're like, I want to crack some skulls. Throw a big ball around.
Yeah, exactly. And rugby, like everybody can score. It's not just like the skilled positions or whatever. So I was like, I want to actually fucking try and score a touchdown. Right. Or like a try, I guess is what it's called in rugby. Yeah. But then I finally get my physical, and then we start practicing. It's crazy because our coaches were actually from South Africa, and they were like in the semi-pro leagues from there.
That's impressive.
Yeah. I mean, it was. Those guys are intense.
Man, it's intense because I used to hang out with some guys from DU that played rugby, and it was intense.
We played DU. We'd play DU, Colorado College. Our first game was against Western up in Gunnison.
Like, it's intense. I think way more intense than football.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like it's like.
Yeah, and you have to be in a lot better shape for that.
Because there's more running.
Right? Oh yeah, it's constantly running, constantly up and down.
But is it a little safer than football for this reason? You don't have pads on. But when you're wearing pads, that's where people get hurt because you have a say, or how do I want to say this? You're going to smash into someone greater. When you're playing rugby, you realize you're not protected by pads. When you're playing football, you realize you can lower the boom on somebody.
The rugby players are crazy.
Oh, I get it. I'm not saying they're not.
There is hard hits, but it's nothing like football. It's like you have to learn to protect yourself, or if you're gonna like mess yourself up.
Right.
So it was like 2 weeks before like our first game, and our first game was against Western. It was like higher elevation. It was like 2,000 or so more feet in there or something. So that was intense. It was like my first game. We get there, and I got these butterflies going. I'm like, oh shit, like.
What did I do?
Yeah, and then it's my first time ever playing rugby, and I'm one of the starters. Like, the coach was like, oh, I like the way you play. You're gonna start. And I was like,
was your girlfriend happy you were playing rugby?
At the time, she didn't really care. She was like, you do you.
Gotcha.
So it's like I'm with a bunch of people who know the sport, and I still don't understand all the rules, and I'm here like playing.
Right.
But man, that first game was incredible.
Right.
Yeah, like, because in football I always wanted to score, and I actually did end up scoring in my first game for rugby.
When you say breaking noses, did you break some noses?
Yeah, because on my first actual like try, the guy passed me the ball, and then I grabbed it, and we're like probably 10, 15 yards from like the goal line, and there's this guy like running right at me. He was a smaller guy, so I was like, you know what, like this is my chance. I'm gonna just run him over.
Light him up.
Yeah, and I lowered my shoulder. I hit my shoulder straight into his face. And then I just kept running through him. I ended up scoring. And then I turned back around. He's got blood dripping down his face right here.
Oh, you broke his nose.
And then he just popped it back in.
I don't think I broke his nose technically, but it was some blood coming out of it for sure. Yeah. But yeah, I mean that was like the best game I've ever had. And then after that, I just fell off and never scored again.
Yeah.
But you played it a whole season?
Yeah, we played a whole season. And then I was going to play like next year too, but then we didn't have enough people to play, so then kind of fell apart, sadly. We tried to recruit more people, but then
I can't see that being everybody's cup of tea.
Well, because they're not familiar with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If you go to like Europe or anything, or especially like New Zealand, Africa, it's huge.
Massive. It's like soccer. How big is soccer in America? I mean, it's big, but it's not.
Have you heard of David Beckham?
Yeah, he's not American.
Bend it like Beckham.
Yeah.
and I fell in love with it right away. I would like stay up until like 2, 3 in the morning to watch like the rugby matches around the world.
Cool.
Especially like our coach was South African. He was like, you got to watch the Springboks. Like they're the best.
Right.
And then I was just.
Yeah, but I'm saying it'd be bigger if you started in high school. If high schools had rugby teams, right? That's how this is. To put it in perspective, I want to love hockey so bad, but I don't understand the rules, the penalties. To an extent, I do because I grew up in a small town where you didn't have hockey. You know what I mean? But when I go to like the Eagles games, man, I love it. It's so intense, but I don't understand what's going on a lot. You know, that's why I feel that it's not as big. That's why football and basketball are so massive in this country because almost every school has them. Even the little bitty schools, like you had a football team.
Scott says we played 3-on-3 at Woodland. I'm like, whatever.
But I mean,
Screw you, Staley. I played at the Olympic Training Center. I played at State. And he's like, yeah, 3-on-3.
Whatever. You know what I mean?
But yeah, I know what you're saying. But there's a lot of travel leagues. I know there's some kids from our area that do travel leagues and play hockey. But they have to go out of town to do it, yeah. One
of the biggest comedy promoters in Denver, Terry Barton Gray. What's up, TBG? Her husband, Bill, is a doctor. He still plays rugby to this day. Him and his buddies. Yeah, it's cool to watch it. They're always on Facebook.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they travel and play. And Bill's got to be in his 60s now.
Holy.
But they have a league of, they've been playing together for years.
It's a great way to stay in shape, too.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and they love it. It's fun to see the pictures of him out there with that big white football, you know, and it's fun. It's cool. So, that's a great story, man. I would have never thought you'd be a rugby player. That's cool.
Neither did I.
He's a big teddy bear who plays rugby.
How different are the rules than like American football?
It's completely different.
Night and day.
Yeah, like in American football, you can like pass the ball forward, but in rugby, you always have to pass it behind you. You always have to like throw it back when you're running forward.
Like laterals.
Yeah,
it's always gonna be a lateral.
And you can't like block in front of you. You can't have people blocking for you.
Really?
Yeah. So that's where like the conditioning and the speed comes into it.
So it's basically like soccer.
Yeah, it's basically soccer when you can hit people.
I have to check it out, man. It's one of those things I'd like to learn about.
Larry's I think I want to play some rugby.
I ain't running nowhere. It's not bullshit. I gotta run. Get him, Erick. Go get him.
They even. I think the school even tried to start like a semi-pro team to like compete in the semi-pro league, and I was like, for football. And I was like, I'm gonna stick with rugby.
Yeah.
It's just like the brotherhood you build with like all the other guys.
Yeah. So you'd say semi-pro football?
Yeah, they wanted to start like a semi-pro football team, and I would rather like stay with like the club.
Yeah.
Because I mean it's crazy. Like during the game you like beat yourselves up with like the other team, but then afterwards it's just like a
brotherhood.
A brotherhood.
What's that? We were just talking about the other day that football movie. The guy that started out at semi-pro, like I don't even know if he played football in high school. I don't care. But then he ended up playing NFL, got recruited, and then he played in the Super Bowl and won it. What the heck's his name?
I don't know.
It's a good movie, though.
About a movie, there was the punter from the Chargers was an old rugby guy.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. What was his name? It started with a B. Bennett, maybe? But there's a couple of clips of him just lighting people up, man. The punter, like when the kick returns coming towards him, man. You see the punter just fuck this guy up, man. Everybody's like, damn. So,
And there's certain positions in like rugby, like they're like the dedicated kicker,
Right.
which is crazy because those kickers they're jacked.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they still got to be able to take down all these big guys too.
Right. Well, they're all athletes, right? I mean,
That's true.
half the kickers in the NFL were all ex-state champion wrestlers, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Athletes are athletes.
I always wanted to do roller derby.
Really? I had a friend who did that.
Really?
Oh, boy, it's intense to watch, man. Those chicks kick the shit out of each other, man.
You're like, really, Michelle?
Yeah.
But I was like, I might get hurt.
You know what? I'll sign you up. You know? High five your husband. Like, that's for all the shit talk there, buddy. You know what I'm saying?
I got Michelle into the...
Although I got to tell you, she gets her ass kicked. No wrestling for a while, I bet, because she's going to be sore. Just so you know.
Well, we don't wrestle much anymore because Ty's older now.
Wrestle.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, that poor kid. He's going to have that fucking flashback someday. Like, oh, my God. Oh, my God. That was the last erection he had ever. Poor kid.
Can we not talk about him having
Still,
that?
whatever. You were naked. Let him give him a piggyback ride. So don't be judging now, weirdo. All right. 3 great stories there. That was awesome, man. Do you have one in mind?
I think so.
I do too. I do have one in mind. I think it cuts.
I wonder if we're going to agree on this.
We might. We might.
For
I don't know.
once.
So yeah. Well, I mean, so either you're going to be right or or wrong. So. That was a dumb thing to say. I was trying to insult you, and I had it in my head how I was going to say it, and then it came out wrong.
Like,
and, yeah.
Okay.
Either you're going to agree with me and be right, or you're going to be wrong.
I
That's
knew
what
where
I
you're.
meant to say.
I knew what you were saying.
It'd have been awesome had I got that right, but I didn't. So, Eric, we rock paper scissors to see who has to guess first. How do you rock paper scissors?
I'm a 4-pumper.
You're a 4-pumper. Son of a bitch. They're kicking ass this year. This 4-pumping shit.
I don't even know how to do it. Remember?
I'm not a 3-pump chump.
You know what? That's all I got in me, bro. I'm no athlete. We're doing 4. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Well done, Staley. Well done. All right, 3 great stories. I'm working for the feds. I'm a big teddy bear and breaking noses and taking names. So I'll tell you right away. I think that I'm working for the feds is a true story, man. A lot of detail on that, and that's a great story to tell. I'd be willing to bet that's your go-to story when you're telling stories to people. That's what I would say. I think that breaking noses and taking names, you had a lot of passion in that too. I think that one's true. I'm a big teddy bear. I'm going to say that one is the Bullhucker because I bet you guys did go to some of that stuff. I don't think you pussed out like you said you did or something towards the end. And it had not a lot of detail in it. That's why I'm a big detail guy. So if you ever come on this and you want to fool me, tell me a true story without a lot of detail, you'll probably suck me in. So, so I'm going to go with I'm a big teddy bear. Miss Staley.
For once. No, I'm just joking. I am in agreement with Moose Lundstrom.
Why is that?
There wasn't a lot of detail. I mean, kind of the same thing. Pretty excited about the other 2 stories, and that one was, just kind of,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, I mean, I want the other 2 to be true.
Yes, exactly.
There's ones you just want to be true.
I will say the Fed kind of, I was like, just because the story that Monaco told, there's some differences there.
Right.
So.
Well, 2 different situations. That wasn't the same situation. It was not the same. But
story. I thought maybe,
Right.
But I'm in agreement with you on this.
Well, I mean, and that one almost got me too with the feds because it might have been as tense as he said. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm sure it's intense. I'm sure that was not a walk in the park by any means. But I think I'm a big teddy bear is it. But before we shows, if you like what you saw today, check out thebullhucker.com. It's got all our stuff on it. You also will be able to find the Totem Podcast links on the description below this video or on thebullhucker.com under the As Seen on the Bullhucker. You'll go to see all the Inception stuff there if you want to check these guys out. If you need help with the media stuff or you just want to check out a great podcast, check them out as well. Subscribe to that podcast. No matter what you listen to, iHeartRadio, Spotify, whatever you're on, please make sure you follow them. Yeah. And leave a rating and review. It helps out the podcast. It's a huge click for us and a small click for you. It's backwards, but it's the same thing.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
I'm talking about. So we appreciate everybody and all the support, Well,
and I just have to say the guys were great. Ty and his buddy are wanting to start a podcast. I've told him to reach out to you too. He hasn't yet. Yeah. I'm not quite sure what they're going to talk about. Ty might talk about his horror stories growing up in the Staley household.
I'm not gonna, a therapy session for Ty.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk to Ty because I don't want to have to turn that shit over to the police.
But
you guys should listen to this shit.
But they came over and actually met the guys when we did or did the whiskey wine whatever with them at their new podcast location,
Yeah.
and had the guys come over and they got to see your new space. And I'm not quite sure what they're gonna lean into, but they're willing to kind of mentor and
Great.
help out too, because just never know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds
So
great.
shout out for that. Thank you for that. Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, also on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, there's a little red button. That's our subscribe button. Go ahead and click that, and it'll alert you and hit the little bell. So it tells you every Tuesday when we release a new website or a new episode. I almost got through that without fucking it up.
So close.
I was close. So close, man.
I feel you doing the intros, outros. Oh, it's just
It's tough, right? Because
even though how much you practice so many times, it's like
Yeah.
you can never really get it.
I've
all the way
also
there.
thought about just making a small video. I just click in here, like, okay, and this, and then it'd be like I'm a prisoner, like a ransom thing, like,
Yeah.
welcome to the Bullhucker podcast. Please hit the subscribe button,
Try to do live radio.
or they will flog me.
Like, I introduce guests wrong all the time.
Really?
John Becker is like one of my good friends, and I forgot his name.
Oh no.
I'm here on Morgan Matters with
This
that guy.
I call him asshole. I'll call him asshole.
And one other time I called him John Staley, not John Becker. So.
John Becker's great.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And it's audio only, so you can't just point to him. No, it's like you're just over here pointing,
Yeah.
but then it's like
that's
Yeah.
true.
I like to say I was just part of the entertainment.
Yeah,
And
you
see
do.
what Michelle would forget on a daily basis.
It
but,
happens. That's
yeah.
why it's nice to be able to edit these. So, all right, we're the 3 stories. I'm working for the feds, breaking noses and taking names, and I'm a big teddy bear. And I guess we're both going. I'm a big teddy
Dun,
bear.
dun, dun, dun.
Let's see it. Let's check it out, man.
Oh,
my!
dude.
Breaking noses and taking names. What's not true about that, Eric?
what's not true is the first game was a complete shit show. I got destroyed, and I was the one who ended up with the bleeding nose.
I was. Oh, look at that.
Well, you know what? Well played. There was a lot of you told that like it was a cherished memory, not, not you getting beat.
I mean, it still is, even though I got beat up. It was still awesome.
And we suck.
Right. I'm a big teddy bear. Is a true story.
Yeah. she'll never let me live it down. That's for sure.
No matter what, she'll be like, "What about the cornfield?" Like, son of a bitch.
We'll just be doing something. She'll be like, "Oh, you're just a big teddy bear." Do you want a big teddy bear? Or do you want this mean guy who's always going to be a dick to you?
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
A lot of girls like that side. So they think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You never know. And I'm working for the feds. By the way, that's a fantastic story, man.
Yeah.
That was really great. That is a true story.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hopefully, I mean, the documentary will come out at some point, so that everybody can actually like hop on the ride and just
cool.
go
Right.
with us
Very
to
cool.
where we went.
That's
Yeah.
awesome, man. That's a great story. And that's one of those stories told in this podcast is you know how quickly that could have went south?
Yeah.
How fucked you could have really been?
Were your parents and your fiance and your wife, were they like pissed after the fact? Like, were they like never ever again? And you're like, we're going to build that mansion because we're going to have that.
Once we told them like the actual true story, they were like, "What the fuck were you guys thinking?"
And here's how I see it. You're not getting paid. You're doing this for the experience, and hopefully it pays back in some way. You're also carrying around a shitload of expensive equipment in a third world country, man.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? How you weren't stabbed and robbed.
There's some passion there, right?
honestly-
There's making that dream happen.
Honestly, though, I mean, how much is the camera? I mean, it's not cheap, right? None of this shit's cheap.
No.
So I mean, that's a ballsy move to go
Yeah.
do. So absolutely,
We even had to bust out our cell phone and record on that sometimes because there's just
Yeah.
too much shit going around.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't trust it, man. That's nuts. So before we go though, I want to talk a little about your business.
Yeah.
So you're the film guy, right?
Yeah.
What do you wish people knew when they were trying to book a photographer?
Well, we do like the marketing and
Right.
the other stuff, but
Right.
one thing I would like tell people to pay attention to is like, who are you actually hiring? Is it just someone who's doing it as a hobby, who's not as invested into capturing your life,
Right.
or is it someone who's actually a professional, treats it professionally, and will do everything they can to make sure you have the best time of your life and it's captured on camera?
Right. I mean, a lot of people do have relatives or whatever do it, but I mean, you get what you pay for in life, right?
Yeah, 100%.
How many weddings have you done? Do you think? Or quinceañeras? How many events? I should say, how many events?
We've done a lot. I've lost count.
Just tons.
Yeah, I mean, this year we already got booked up to like around 20, 30
Oh, nice.
events.
That's amazing, man.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
That's
and
awesome.
we're it's the number just getting higher. So I mean, we're all over the place too. Like if people are up in Denver or they're in the mountains, and like we will still travel all the way out there too.
Right. How's the far? Do you have a a travel radius that you'll go to, or do you go? Or are you willing to give anything a shot?
I want to give anything a shot.
Right.
If
money talks, Larry. Money talks.
If they're having a destination wedding, sign me up. I want to go to the beach too.
There we go.
Oh, yeah.
How do we be a part of that?
You got to knock off Edith, I guess. I don't know. Leave Staley. I don't know what to tell you. What I'm saying.
Right.
A lot of bad shit happening on the podcast today. How much are you involved with the actual marketing end of this too?
Pretty involved.
Yeah.
Because I still I'm still the one who creates the content for all that stuff that we put out onto other people's socials and stuff.
Right.
And then just the planning that goes into it, because they might have an idea of oh, I want to do this, but then I'm okay, in reality we can't do that. We have to do this because it's gonna be a lot more expensive to hire actors or whatever. So it's kind of still pretty invested.
That's cool. That's cool. And if you go on the website, is there a place on the website? What is the website, by the way?
Inceptionsmedia.com is for all our marketing stuff, and then Films by Inceptions is all our weddings and quintas, photo and video.
I didn't ask Monica this, I forgot to, but is there pricing on there, or how do they go about getting pricing or getting information on that kind of thing?
We have a starting price ballpark number, so that way people can at least come to us already kind of knowing
have an idea
how much they're going to spend.
Right.
It's just to avoid I guess people like to think of it as awkward conversations. We don't really think of it like that, but it's just some people are when you start talking about money, it's a big no. So we're just this is kind of what we start at, so people can just have an idea.
That's cool. That's cool. And I've always said that if you have a friend that has a business, that's how you support it. Right? You pay them. You don't ask for a discount. It's your time is worth money.
Yeah.
It's even as simple as just hitting that share button on social media, sharing the post or whatever.
Right. And you can also hit share on all this stuff. And
exactly.
How do people come on your Totem podcast? How do people get signed up for that?
They can just message me directly. Okay. If they're watching on YouTube, they can leave a comment or whatever too.
Right.
But usually they just direct message on Facebook, Instagram, or whatever. They'll be able to find us there.
And we're all friends on Facebook too. So if you hold me or Michelle Staley, we could actually get you.
Yeah, I have shared your info with a few people.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Definitely. So. Yeah. It's and photographers. I mean, this so many times people ask me about photographers. So now I have one to recommend. So, Erick, thank you so much for coming on, man.
Yeah, thank you for giving me the opportunity to be on here on your show. And guys, this was fun. If you thought about coming on here or anything, just come on. You'll have a blast. It's honestly, it's really super cool.
It's the hard part is getting people to step outside their comfort zone to do this. You know, but so far I got a perfect record, man, of people that came on that have had the balls to come on and do it. At the end, I always ask, would you come back and do it? I know you guys would because you're attention whores like me in this one. You know what I'm saying? We're podcasters, so yeah, we're attention whores. Let's not bullshit each other. So, but most people that aren't used to this kind of thing, they got to step outside of their comfort zone. But they've always enjoyed it, and they've always said they come back. So, why not? We're a good time, right?
I think so.
You are from the stories I've heard today. Good Lord. So anyway, Erick, thank you so much for coming on.
I appreciate it.
I'm Moose Lunster.
Michelle Staley.
Catch you next time. Peace.